Hello and welcome to the first edition of this offseason, the Buffalo Bills Now show. I'm your host, Dave Kress, and as always, I'm joined by my partner, Brendan Harrington. Brendan, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right, so let's get right into it. We got 7 topics to go over today, and we got a new format as we come into this offseason for this. And what we're gonna do is we'll put 2 minutes on the clock for each topic. I think this is just a better way to do it, and so when Brendan makes a ridiculous comment, we don't go on for like 10 minutes about it. So let's go into the first topic, which is the bill about the free agents for the Bills. Who do you think the Bills should re-sign? Who do you think they should let go? Who do you think they should franchise? Stuff like that. Brendan, you're first.
The Bills really need to re-sign Jairus Byrd. He's a huge part of this defense. And then also some little guys that would actually be huge if they re-signed Frank Summers.
Yeah.
Alex Carrington, Alex Moats, or Arthur Moats. And then 1 or 2 guys that they should actually let go are Jim Leonard and Scott Chandler. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, yeah, I agree for the most part about that. I mean, I'd be okay with if they didn't bring back Chandler that much. They could just go out and get another tight end. I'm not a huge fan of Chandler. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's not going to be that much of a loss if they lose him. I think he could be easy to replace. Jairus Byrd, they obviously need to get him back. There's no question about it. They definitely need Byrd back, so I think he's definitely the biggest and most important one. But then also some of the other guys that you said about, like Frank Summers or Alex Carrington and Arthur Moats.
Yeah, but one thing about Scott Chandler, he was you didn't really see him much, but he was actually the leading receiver for the Bills.
Yeah, no, it's 655 yards.
And it would be a huge drop in the passing game and the rushing game. So I don't really know about Scott Chandler. It doesn't really matter to me unless they don't go and get a tight end either way. But yeah, I think they can do without Scott Chandler next season as he becomes a free agent.
All right, yeah. I mean, maybe. Who do you think they should use their franchise tag on then? Because it's not going to be Byrd.
Well, if they can't get a long-term deal with Byrd, then definitely Byrd. But if not Byrd, then you start looking at, small guys. Well, some teams actually do this, but, Dan Carpenter was really good for them last year, and some teams actually give them to their punter and kicker, so it's possible that free agent kicker Dan Carpenter will get the franchise. But then also, Alex Carrington, I don't know if he is really deserving of that, and maybe even Scott Chandler.
All right, yeah, so now let's move on to the next topic. I don't know if you could hear that, Brendan, but next, just free agents in general for the NFL. Who do you think that would be good for the Bills to sign?
One big name guy, well, I don't know if everybody knows him, but his name is Kenny Britt, former Titans receiver, #1 guy. He didn't play much this year because he was unhappy with the team, but he's a really good receiver. He's really big. That's the kind of guy the Bills should look after. And also going down to tight ends, Fred Davis maybe in the passing game, he would be good. Jimmy Graham, obviously, if he drops, then I would pay him the big bucks to come to Buffalo, but he's probably going to stay with
No, that's not a question. Mickey Loomis, their GM, said that if they can't get a long-term deal done, they're franchise tagging him. So you could basically cross Jimmy Graham off.
Well, yeah, well, let's see about that. But
their GM
and then
said
Brandon Pettigrew, maybe, who former Detroit Lion. Dennis Pitta is becoming a free agent. Tony Scheffler.
Not Tony
Scheffler.
Tony Scheffler sucks.
Well, he scores a lot. But what else do you want to tight end now these days?
Well,
there's also guys like I don't know. Just that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
There's Jared Allen's the defensive end is actually a free agent after the season. The Bills aren't going to go and get him. I'm just saying.
All right, yeah. They obviously don't need a running back, so yeah, if they're not going to draft a receiver, I think they should go out and get a guy. But I'm not a huge fan of Kenny Britton. I think there's better guys available than him. My favorite guy who's probably not going to be returning to the Giants is Hakeem Nicks. The Bills need a big receiver, and he's that type of guy. But also the Eagles probably might not re-sign Jeremy Maclin, so he'd be good to bring in. Or even Eric Decker, the Broncos reports said that he's not going to be re-signed. So that's
yeah, but he's going to be a franchise. He's probably going to be franchise. I can't see him coming out of Buffalo or coming out of Denver. But then there's also guys. I'm looking at the list right here. Some little known guys a little bit. Darius Hayward-Bay. Even Jeremy Maclin from Philadelphia. There's a couple of old guys right here. There's also wait, no, one more. Dexter McCluster. He would be huge.
Not really. And he's a running back.
Yeah, he's running back and receiver. But he'd be huge with everything.
We don't need him. We have C.J. Spiller, who's basically the same, just better.
He didn't really do much in the passing game this year, though.
Yeah, but he can. He can catch just as good as McCluster. Alright. Alright.
We'll see about that.
What?
We'll see about that.
I don't think we'll see about that, actually. Now to move on. As you know, a few weeks ago, the Bills hired Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. Do you think that was a good hire, Brendan? You can start.
I think it was the best hire possible. I don't think he's going to be that. I don't think he's going to be any better than Mike Pettin. Or at least we won't be able to tell because Mike Pettin really turned this defense around, or we just got a lot of good players. But the Lions weren't really good at it with him under their head coach. He was there for 5 years. They were to the playoffs once. That was their only year that they had a winning record, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
His defense lacked discipline. Not only his defense, but his whole team lacked discipline.
I think you're just saying that because of Ndamukong Suh, so.
No, there's other players on that team. So anyway, that's not the only player. Ndamukong Suh was not the only player that was undisciplined on the team. It was also, they were the most penalized, not just like crazy things, they were the most penalized team for 4 of his 5 years. That I saw that.
Alright, yeah.
They were the most penalized team in the NFL. And then you see Titus Young, who was just a scumbag.
Good point.
He was under Jim Schwartz for 2-3 years.
Yeah, but I don't think it's his fault that he's a scumbag. He wasn't really a scum on the field. He never really did anything bad on the field. It was just all off the field.
Wow, he's lazy. See him? He's tiny. It's only with drugs and stuff.
Okay.
He's not going to do anything on the field.
So that has nothing to do with Jim Schwartz.
Kinda.
No, it has nothing to do with him. You're saying that since Jim Schwartz was his coach that he decided to do drugs?
Fine, whatever. Just forget about Titus Young. He coached the most penalized team in the NFL.
Alright, yeah, that's a good point. The only thing I don't really like about him is that he's turning the Bills back to a 3-4 defense. And maybe it'll work. And maybe with the new talent they have from last year, that it'll work. But all I know is last time we saw it, it wasn't very effective. So.
But people forget last year the Bills weren't really a real 3 or 4-3 offense or defense. They had linebackers lining up on the end. They were really running like a 3-3 or something, like with 3 safeties for most of the time.
All right, so now to the next topic, which is who, just given early, I mean, I know it's only February, but the Combine's coming up next week and stuff. Who do you think the Bills will draft 9th overall? Just early. I know you probably haven't looked into it all that much, but just give a name or two. Who do you think they will draft the first round?
A couple of possibilities are, this is really pushing it, but Johnny Manziel,
No.
Sammy Watkins, C.J. Mosley, linebacker.
Yeah.
And then maybe a tackle like Jake Matthews from
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. But that's pretty much all that I can see the Bills going after. I don't see them. People are predicting them to get, what's his name, the tight end?
Eric Ebron out of North Carolina.
Yeah, him or another guy. Another tight end. I cannot picture the Bills in any circumstance picking a tight end in the first round.
Yeah, I mean...
How often does that happen? How often do teams pick a tight end in the first round?
Tyler Eifert last year. For the Bengals. Also, by the way, Johnny Manziel's not going to be there. He's either going to go first overall to the Texans, and I don't think he'll slide by the Browns, so they're in love with him. And even like the Raiders are as late as the pick before us, the Vikings. There's just so many teams that need quarterbacks this year in the top 10. I'm projecting 4. In my opinion, Manziel's the best one in there, so if he doesn't go first overall, I don't see him getting past the Browns at 4. But like you mentioned, Jake Matthews out of Texas A&M, he's probably the second best tackle in the draft behind Greg Robinson out of Auburn. And people talk about how bad the Texas A&M's offensive line was, but Jake Matthews was very stellar for them. And if you watch the film on Manziel, you can tell that he was holding up his side. So I could see them going with one of those. But also Sammy Watkins, if he falls, would be good. But I'd like a big guy also, like Mike Evans out of Texas A&M to go with. All right.
Well, no, Mike Evans is going to fall in the second round. People are starting to think of him as more of a tight end than a receiver because he's so slow and he's not even good at running routes.
He's not awful at running routes, but he's really good. I like him.
I watched some tape on him. He's really bad at running routes from what I've seen.
All right. So now for our second last topic, I know you kind of touched on it there with saying Johnny Manziel. Do you think the Bills should draft a quarterback this year in the draft?
I would say if the right guy falls to them, then why wouldn't you? Because you're not just... Because if somebody falls like Blake Bortles or maybe even... I'm not even brain for it. The Louisville quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater, but Blake Bortles, I think he's better than...
No. Teddy Bridgewater, I got it. If one of those two guys, or maybe even Johnny Manziel, fall to the Bills, why wouldn't they take him? Because E.J. Manuel didn't show a single thing that shows to me that he's going to be the franchise guy that's going to take us and win a Super Bowl last season.
Well,
And I'm pretty sure he didn't show anything to anybody else in the Bills organization. So it's like, why handicap yourself to a quarterback that you didn't see anything out of his rookie year when you could get somebody that's supposed to be a great quarterback?
here's what I have to say about that. Manziel, Bortles, and Bridgewater, all three aren't going to fall that far. Maybe if they wanted to draft a quarterback in the first round, maybe they'd be lucky enough to get Derek Carr if he falls, but I don't think he's even going to fall to the Bills at 9. I think there'll be 4 in the top 8. So then you're looking at guys in the first round you'd have to reach on, like A.J. McCarron out of Alabama, who's my 5th guy. Or
No!
What? That's...
He's not supposed to go until like the 4th round.
Alright, exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're going to draft a quarterback, it's going to be late to get a guy like McCarron or Taj Boyd out of Clemson, or if they really want to go late, who I like is Jimmy Garoppolo, who lit it up at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl. So I think that they should just wait. If they're going to draft a quarterback, wait till the later rounds, because after Derek Carr, there's a bit of a drop-off.
Well, what I'm saying is, this isn't up to us. I'm just saying, if the Bills really don't like E.J. Manuel, if they agree with me, and they didn't see anything out of him, then why not try to trade up? I've heard there's rumors that Houston is willing to trade back, and we could give them a second or third round pick to get the first overall pick. If they really want a quarterback, they can get a first round pick and just pick whoever they want. But I don't really think they want a quarterback, so
no, they
they're
don't.
probably just going to go with a receiver tackle.
They shouldn't get a quarterback. They should get Manuel more weapons. Manuel didn't even play the whole year. You got to give him at least one more year. He was the first round pick. All right, so that'll do it.
That's what I'm saying. People are saying the Bills should handicap themselves to somebody just because he has the label of being a first round pick. So go ahead.
All right, yeah. But I don't think the Texans will trade out. They should either get their quarterback, and it's basically down to 3 guys on who's going to be drafted first overall. It's either Johnny Manziel, Blake Bortles, or Jadeveon Clowney. Those are down to the 3 guys, pretty much. All right, so moving on to our final topic. As you know, Mike Pettine's gone now for the Bills, and he also brought a bunch of lower coaches to the Browns with him, so that left a lot of holes for the Bills to hire. They finished off hiring all their coaches. So who do you think was the best coach hire? Now, I guess we should just exclude Jim Schwartz from this because I think that's kind of the easy pick. All right, you're up.
Well, I would have to say Pepper Johnson, and I believe he's going to be the defensive line coach.
Yeah.
He came from the
He is.
Patriots. And I think that was a good hire because he was there in their dominant defensive years when they won the Super Bowl and such. So I just like that hire. And then there's a couple more. I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Yeah, my favorite. I think I kind of like Ted Downing bringing in a quarterbacks coach because for me, I'm all about Manuel really just to see what he's got because I actually believe in him, unlike you. So I mean, Downing and Manuel, they have some good chemistry. They know each other from last year. I believe it was at the Senior Bowl. So I mean, he's who I would say is my favorite. But yeah, I also like the Pepper Johnson hiring, and then the rest, some other hires for the Bills. Jim Hostler is the senior offensive assistant. Rob Moore is the new receivers coach after they just fired. What was his name?
Isaac Hilliard.
Yeah, it was something Hilliard. I don't think it was Isaac though.
Oh, Ike Hilliard.
Ike Hilliard, yeah. And then Fred Packett as the linebackers coach. So, yeah, I would go with Ted Downing.
Yeah, maybe what we saw from E.J. Manuel last year was because he was working with the offensive coordinator as his quarterback coach, and Nathaniel Hackett had too much on his plate.
Yeah.
So maybe Ted Downing will actually help him a lot. You never know. Maybe E.J. Manuel will become great.
I'm hoping.
You never know.
Yeah,
That would be great, but
I think we all are hoping. All right.
But we can't do what we did with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I guess he had a good 2011, but you can't give somebody 3-4 years and then just release him. Like, you have to stick with a guy who's thick and thin if you're gonna really pick him. You can't just waste 3-4 years of seasons.
All right, yeah. But you have to give him at least one more year.
Yeah, give him one more year. If he shows that he's injury prone next year, then why would you keep him? If you can't stay on the field, then what's the point of having him as your starter? Maybe keep him as a backup.
All right. So, yeah, that's actually a good point. All right, so that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalo Bills Now Show podcast. Tomorrow, next week is a day or two before the Combine when we record, so we're going to be talking a lot about the draft. And, yeah, so we'll be getting into it. So also, remember to follow our Twitter account for the blog. It's @BillsNowBlog. And we'll, of course, have lots of articles and stuff. And we'll see you next time.